If you're going to do a proper risk assessment on a complex system, you got to bring in electrical engineers. Sometimes you got to bring in structural engineers. You got to bring in people who are familiar with administrative protocols. You want to be able to get that expertise at that foundational level of a risk assessment. You get that right. That drives you and the project forward. So, for instance, you're looking at a harm. You're looking at a hazard, which is a potential source of harm. You want to look at who is going to be involved with the task associated with that hazard. Then you have to think about the hazardous situation. So, hazardous situation is a circumstance in which a person is exposed to the hazard being the potential source of harm. So then you look at the harmful event, the process in which the hazardous situation leads to the harm. Now you take that, you understand the severity of the harm that can happen, and you got to break that up based off what your risk matrix is, what your risk definitions are. So you go, okay, let's classify the different ways that someone can get hurt. You classify the lowest, which is to say, hey, you got hurt, you need a Band-Aid. You classify it as the worst, saying, okay, this person died. And then you have some intermediate steps in there. Maybe you say, okay, next up from the bottom is to say that, all right, you had to go to the hospital, but you're going to make a recovery. And then maybe one step from the worst, death, you say, okay, there is a long-term recovery, a broken bone or something. So you got to be able to understand and break out and quantify your different levels of severity of harm. And then you look at your occurrence rate and you say, okay, how do we want to understand that? Do we want to say that a rare occurrence is something that's going to happen once over the lifetime of the system, lifetime of the ride and my previous experiences? Or do we say all the way to the top, hey, this is something that's going to occur very frequently, maybe every day? So another key component of a risk assessment is to build out your risk matrix. What do you or your organization tolerate? What do you deem as acceptable risk? What do you deem as not acceptable risk? And what do you deem as something that should be mitigated? When I do risk assessments, I have 3 zones. I have a red zone, I have an orange zone, and I have a green zone. Green zone, good. Risk is okay. Risk is acceptable. Orange, that should be mitigated. And red, absolutely unacceptable.